make an independent judgment without being influenced by propaganda, by bias, by media.
But I hope they love science when they leave my class, so they want to take more sciences. So they're always collaborating, collecting data, problem solving, looking at things critically.
Being really thoughtful, critical thinkers. To be able to have an opinion on a topic that's not borrowed from somebody just because it sounds smart, and that they've come up with their own conviction, a truth that belongs to them.
It's probably to be flexible with any kind of understandings they take away from the classroom.
It's really learning how to revise your work.
So it's important for me that they learn not to fear math, to love it and to question it. But most of all, don't be scared of it.
So for me, it's really about problem solving. What do you know? What don't you know? What do you need to, do first, second, third, and then go ahead and execute?
When I'm working with teachers and students, both are being a risk taker and problem solving. With technology, the way to figure it out is to just be a risk taker and push the button. And if it doesn't work the way you want it to work, you need some problem solving skills to kind of figure that out.
Go out in the world after they take my class and look at it a little bit differently. Anything that they see could potentially become a beautiful artwork.
Probably our genetics unit. We decided to teach biology through genetics because kids find it so interesting because they can learn about themselves. So they really get excited about that.
It's when they get a chance to actually lead others, or to whether it's lead a drill or captain a team, or feel like they've got control over it. And I mean, the same thing could happen in a maths class or an English class, where the student feels that they are leading the learning situation.
Wow, I came up with something totally new. I never thought I could do this.
Vocabulary is incredibly important.
I like my students to be involved in independent projects where I provide them a big idea and then they get to kind of define which direction to go with that.
13-year-olds come in with some pretty strong beliefs that they know the world and they know everything about it. And so I like to listen to them and allow them a forum to kind of give me their opinions about things.
Passion in learning, I think, comes from helping them to teach each other. They love to be in charge. They love to come up with the best way to introduce a topic or to teach other students, particularly those younger than them. And so they always become very passionate when they have a stake in it.
Authentic learning to me is when a student takes something brand new, they've never tried it before, they seek out understanding, and then they try it. Making mistakes is definitely a step you take towards authentic learning.
We do a project where kids have to pick something about genetics that has impacted them. So I had, last year, I had some kids who were taking medication for ADD, and they wanted to see if it's more environmental or genetic cause for ADD. Or another girl had a brother who had Down syndrome. So she did a project on that, and they could use a variety of technologies like iPads to explain everything, or use an iMovie, and then they present it to the class.
To me, authentic learning is when students have the opportunity to take big ideas we're studying and give it meaning to themselves. So for example, we studied civil rights in our U.S. history class, but then kids got to select a civil rights topic that was meaningful to them. So whether that meant looking at Title IX and women in sports, or gays in the military, students got to select a topic that was relevant and pertinent not only to their lives, but that's contemporary.
I think authentic learning happens when I'm actually not in front of the classroom. They have an opportunity to put out their own opinions on things, and I think it becomes more authentic when they then apply some of their critical thinking skills and they make some connections to the real world.
Any time, any way you can take math out of a textbook, then it's authentic. Instead of just the written word or the written number, if they can see it and observe it or experience it, it's authentic.
Authentic learning means that you understand why you're doing it and how it's applicable.
Authentic learning to me means that the audience is somebody more than just the teacher. So any kind of project where you're doing it for a bigger reason, not just for the class, for the grade. For example, right now in 6th grade, kids are blogging, and we hooked up one RLA class with an RLA class in Japan, And now all of a sudden that the idea of blogging and writing, on a blog is becoming more real for those kids because 6th graders in another country are looking at their work and commenting.
Was a unit about probability. The students had to design their own game in which they had to work out the probability of winning and losing, and they had to make it attractive. They had to encourage people to come by figuring out a good probability that wouldn't scare people away. So they had to really understand the odds, the chances of winning versus the chances of losing. And we ended up running a really big carnival here in the library. The entire 7th grade played each other's games. The math teachers felt we really believed that they got something out of it because their reflections were, I actually got it. I understood why my game was successful or why my game lost everything.
We do this one, it's called Make a Baby with Your Partner, and kids talk about it a lot. They have to put the genes for their facial features in this database, and then they're randomly assigned someone from the opposite gender. They don't know who it is, and then they make a baby so you can see what their possible baby could look like someday, and that's all kids talk about for a long time.
I really try to put them in a position where it's project-based learning, and they have to gather information and do something with that information. For me, the end all isn't memorizing facts. For me, the end all is once they have facts, what are you going to do with it? What's your point of view? What do you think about it?
So the more I can get kids up and moving and out of the room and just interacting with each other, and I'm not talking like get in a circle interacting. I'm talking let's get up and move and like make history happen here and now, and why is it relevant and why should you care, and sort of make history the present.
But what's been great is to see the 7th graders really teach each other and teach their teachers things.